Hi, folks, and welcome to another edition of An Hour with Bob. Got a treat for you today. Got an old friend. Been on the show a few times over the years. I went to see him last Sunday night? Or Sunday night before that? Yeah. Over at the Comedy Connection. John Perrotta, how you doing? Nice
Good.
to
How
see
you doing, Bob? Always great to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Great to see you.
Well, you've been on here, what, 3, 4 times?
It's got to be my fourth time
Fourth
through the
time?
years.
Yeah?
Yeah, always had fun.
Yeah.
Always enjoyed coming on.
Now, you started in the comedy 90, 91?
Well, I got up in '83, got up once, did really well, then I bombed twice and I walked away.
And that was the end of it.
And then I took Frank O'Donnell, had a comedy class in '91 at the Learning, I think it was a Learning Connection.
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah.
Learning Center, and I took that class. There were 20 students, and I got up on stage. It did really well. Then I got up the next time at the Bonneview in Narragansett for a guy called Brian Derry. I hosted the show, and I bombed. And I had to make a decision. This is not going to be easy. You're going to get your laughs, but then you're going to have your nights where you cannot buy a laugh.
Right, yeah.
So I had to make a decision. All right, I want to stick with this. I'm going to have my ups and downs. And I
Right.
stuck with it, and persistence paid off. And eventually I got pretty decent comic, enough to start getting paid work and
Right.
running my own company. And it takes time and a lot of persistence. You got to really want it.
I can remember when I had my restaurant. I had a restaurant in the 80s, from 84 to 89. I had a pub in Pawtucket. And I had this guy, a mailman, used to come in all the time.
I remember the mailman.
And he did the comedy. He talked us into going to see him this one night.
I remember him, yeah.
And he was at Periwinkle's on the
I
second
saw him. I
floor
worked
of
with him.
Periwinkle's.
Yeah.
And he went up there and he bombed. I felt so bad for him. He bombed so bad it was awful.
Yeah.
I felt for the guy. I really felt for the guy, and I said I could never do that.
It's not always easy.
I don't mind. I mean, I love public speaking. I love getting in front of people, but doing comedy, I think that's a different routine.
Oh yeah,
To
you got to make them laugh.
Yeah, if you don't make them laugh,
you got to keep the laughs coming, you know. And if something doesn't go, you can't. You know, you got to say to yourself,
you can't
"All
live
right,
with
I'm
it,
on to the
right?
next
You got to
thing."
go with something else.
You might say in your head, well, they usually laugh at that, but they didn't for some reason. Go to the next thing.
Well, the crowd makes a difference, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to tell an old group a joke that you would tell a younger group.
Yeah, it varies. You got to read. You got to know your audience and read your audience. If you have an older crowd, you don't want to really swear much. And I try to be. I don't really swear much in my act anyway anymore.
Right.
But if I have an older crowd, especially, I'll watch the material I do versus if I have a younger crowd.
Right.
Like I booked the Comedy Connection for the newer comics once or twice a month on a Sunday. And it's a younger audience mostly. There's some older people, but a younger audience, so you can kind of get a little more.
Well, I was there.
Yeah, but you can get a little spicy. I know you were there. You can get a little more spicy there on a Sunday night when you got some younger people, and you know. But certain crowds you want to watch out.
Yeah, you got to be careful what you say, right?
Yeah, you don't want to start offending people.
Well, how do you deal with this? You know, nowadays it's a lot different than it was with Richard Pryor days when you could just say almost anything to anybody. Yeah. Nowadays you got to be careful.
Well, I don't do any.
I
do no political humor,
right?
Because half the people love Trump, half the people don't like him, and I don't do any. I stay away from political humor. I don't want to get in the middle of anything. I don't want to start anything. Some people can do it and they get away with it. They do it a certain way, but I find for me, and when I started, I did political humor. In '91, I did political humor. And I don't do any political humor whatsoever anymore in my act. Very seldom.
Speaking of doing political humor, living and dying with it, look at not John, what's his name? Steve Colbert. I mean, he lives by it.
He lives by it. Some guys...
It's ridiculous now. He's gotten to the point it's off the charts.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all he does now.
That's all he does, yeah. I don't know. I'm not into the political humor. I just hope the country straightens out one way or the other, whoever's in.
Yeah.
That's what I hope.
Yeah. But you can't even say, you know, nationality stuff. You can't say stuff against a particular sex or a
I
group.
get away with some stuff because I'm a Don Rickles type. I work the audience, so I can get away with certain stuff. I just do. I get away with it, but I watch how I do it. You know, I don't cross the line. I might go right up to the line, but I don't cross it. So, like, one night I looked at a guy, and I knew he was Puerto Rican, and I said, "Look at this guy. You Puerto Rican? I'm worried about my hubcaps in the parking lot." And everybody laughed. And the guy was cool. He was cool with it, and he said, "I'm Puerto Rican." And then I said, "Why do you take 3 hubcaps and leave the last one? Why don't you take them all?" And so, and it just got a laugh, you know. But I got to know. I don't want some Puerto Rican guy, some like, I don't think I want to kill.
Right, yeah.
But they, you know, if you do it right, you can bust nationalities and get away with it. You gotta do it right.
Well, speaking of Don Rickles, didn't we go see Don Rickles one
I
time?
went with you and we saw Don Rickles and Joan Rivers at the Warwick tent. I went up to the fence. I talked to Don Rickles, who's
Yep.
my idol. He sent me an autographed picture, which I lost to this day. I'm looking for
No.
it. He said to John, best wishes, Don Rickles, and that meant the world to me, and I don't know what
Sure.
happened to it. So I'm hoping that comes up someday. I haven't been able to find it, but that was a thrill meeting him.
Oh yeah. In fact, he did that day. He did several promos for me for
Yeah,
my show.
he was an awesome-
Bob's Big Adventures. Oh, I watched. He did a nice one. I watch Bob's Big Adventure all the time when I'm in Rhode Island. And then he did another take.
Yeah.
He goes, Bob's Big Adventure. Who the heck is Bob's Big Adventure? I don't know.
Yeah.
Who's that? Who's he think he is? And you're even off on me.
He had the career of a lifetime. You know. I got really lucky. I worked with this comedian, Tammy Pescatelli, in Connecticut, and a while went by, and she contacted me and she had an Italian-themed show at the Friars Club in New York City and asked me to be in it. That was a big thrill.
Sure.
I went to the Friars Club, and I got in there, and I was nervous. I'm in the
bet.
Milton Berle room, the Don Rickles room, Jerry Lewis, all the big stars, that's where they go. So I'm in the Friars Club, and I couldn't believe how nervous I was.
I'll bet. Yeah.
And I had to go up, and she decided to put me up last because I worked the audience. So everybody's going up and doing well. And then it was my turn to go up. I had to do 12 minutes. So I went up, and I just lit the crowd up. It was one of them nights when you're on.
Right,
I was doing great, and my time was up. I looked over at her. Well, she said, stay up there, and I did another 12 minutes.
Really?
So I actually closed the show at the Friars Club, one of the
Cool
thrills
as
of
that
my
is.
life for 25
Wow.
minutes. And I did awesome. I did awesome, and that was a thrill for me. That was a thrill. And all in 3 months, the three biggest things happened to me.
Don Rickles.
Well, I met Don Rickles. That was a while back, but in August of 2017, I got a text from Bill Burr, who I helped start out years ago.
Right.
And Bill Burr asked me if I would open for him at the Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom in New Hampshire. So before 2,000 people, 2 shows, 2,000
Wow.
a show, I did.
2,000 each show.
Yeah, I opened for him, and he did an hour and 20 each show. He's like a rock star. He come on, they go crazy. But Bill Burr's been great to me. We keep in touch, and it's a thrill because he started out just like I did, and he wound up going on to become one of the biggest comics in the country right now. And we keep in touch, and he remembered me, and that meant a lot to me. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That meant a lot. So that was a big 3 months. I worked with Lenny Clark from Boston, and I worked with Johnny J.J. Walker, Dynamite. I worked with him. So it was like a 3-month period where everything was happening. I thought, wow, this is cool.
Yeah,
and then it's
yeah.
back to reality, you know what I mean? Doing what I do, putting shows together around New England, having fun, which I love. I love the business. You know what I mean? I love it, you know.
You know who I used to go all the time when Joe Rocco had the Newport
yeah.
Comedy Series.
Yep,
I
yep.
went almost every
Yeah,
week.
he had some great comedians.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And he had Greg Shoemaker. Did you ever see him?
I never saw him.
He was the funniest guy I've ever seen in my whole life.
Yeah, he's good.
He was
I like that John Panette. He was the
Oh, yeah.
guy that did the buffet stuff.
Yep.
He passed away young, unfortunately.
No, wait a minute. It wasn't Panette, the one that was on the
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld. He was on the last
Seinfeld.
episode there. He was the
The
guy
last
they made fun of.
Yeah.
Right? He was
Yeah.
the guy that was across the street when they were walking down the street in Massachusetts somewhere. And
Yeah.
I guess George said something about, look at that big fat guy or something like that.
A friend of mine, Stephanie Peters, a Boston comic, knew him well, and she said he was such a great guy. And it was
Yeah, I met him. It
was a shame that he passed young, you know. You know, so the weight, you know what I mean, is tough. I'm on a diet now. I lost 44 pounds, so I'm trying to get the weight off.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not easy, Bob. No. I like to eat. Like I told you before the show, normally I would eat supper at home.
At what time?
And then at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And then I'd go do a comedy show. They'd say, help yourself to the buffet.
Oh,
And
no.
being Italian, I cannot pass up free food. That's against our religion. So now I'm eating a buffet, not one plate, 2 or 3 plates.
Sure.
And now I perform. By the time I get done and I'm on the way home, I love New York Oneyville system wieners. So I got to go get 2 or 3 of them. And when I go to Oneyville, I put the whole place to work. I look at the French fry guy, I'll take a large fry. I look at the burger guy, throw on a burger for me.
No way.
Then I look at the wiener guy, throw on a couple of wieners. The coffee milk guy, I got him working. It's a rush. When I come in, there's like 4 or 5 guys, and they start working. Plates are all in front of me, and it's like I'm an overeater, Bob. When I went in Oneyville Wieners, it could be dead. When I went in, it was a rush. It was a rush. I'm serious, Bob. I can eat. I can eat. That's why I'm trying not to. I'm on protein shakes now, protein bars.
How's that working out for you?
Not easy. Not easy. It's not
when you're
easy.
watching somebody eating a veal parmesan right next to you, right?
It's tough. I go to these buffets because I'm doing shows and I see the buffets and I don't have anything. I just
Really?
it's been since July 9th.
Well, that's discipline. That's
I really want to do it. I want to lose 50 more. I want to get down to a good weight. I want to live. I'm 61. I want to live. I'm enjoying retirement. I retired after 35 years and 10 months, a year and a half ago.
At the prison.
Yeah, I was a correctional officer. It was a great place to work as a comic, Bob. I had a captive audience.
I couldn't leave.
I had a captive audience. They had to listen to me. So, and if you can make a serial killer laugh for 10 minutes, you're having a great set, right?
Yeah.
Having a great set.
Well, you wouldn't want to make them mad.
Yeah, and you know the other thing, Bob, I'm having trouble with the internet. All these apps on the internet. The other night, I go on the internet. I wanted to cheat on my diet. I go on the internet. I go on Grindr. All I wanted, Bob, was a small tuna with provolone. They sent 3 guys over in their underwear. I didn't know Grindr was an app to meet guys. I'm just looking for a tuna sandwich. I mean, I'm not looking for much here. These 3 guys are in their underwear. They didn't even make me an antipasto. I said, get the heck out of here. What am I going to do with you guys?
Grindr's an app.
Grindr is an app to meet guys. I thought it was an app to get Riccardi's. How the heck did I know? I thought you could get a sandwich delivered.
I wouldn't have known.
I didn't know.
I would have known. Grindr.
They're standing on the front porch. I didn't know what to do. 3 guys in their underwear. It was crazy, Bob.
What would you do if they came with a sandwich each?
Well, I would have ate the sandwich, but then I would have said, you guys are going to leave. I'm not that way. You know what I mean? It's crazy. These apps, you got to watch what you're going into, Bob.
I guess.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I watched you work the crowd at the Comedy Connection.
Yeah.
Last Sunday night it was. You're amazing how you get the crowd going, and you don't make anybody mad. I mean, there were guys, there were people there you were nailing pretty good, but they were handling it.
I do it. I try to do it in a good-natured way. So if I see somebody get mad at me, I'll get away from them.
Right.
I never really. It's been a number of years.
Because you do go back to them if you.
The worst experience I ever had. I did a bachelor party at the Edgewood Yacht Club. This biker was about 7 feet tall. So I'm doing my act. He actually literally, I weighed 250 at the time. He picked me up and had me in the air, and he told me he was going to throw me in the water, the Edgewood Yacht Club, in the water, and I can't swim.
Oh.
So I'm up in the air. I get the mic. I'm saying to myself, is this how you're going to die? You're going to be on stage and you busted somebody up. They're going to throw you out a window into the water. And luckily he put me down and he laughed. I run into the guy 3 times since then. I said, hi, how you doing, buddy? I walk away.
Yeah.
This guy's nuts. But that was the closest call. Like people say, you work at a prison. It must have been dangerous. I've had more dangerous stuff happen in comedy than I did at the prison.
Oh, yeah. Well,
people want to kill you.
Well, you also got your bars between you most of the time,
yeah,
right?
these when you do comedy, you say the wrong thing. I learned early on, I stopped saying certain things because you get people mad. And I don't want to get anybody mad. I want them to laugh and have a good time, you know?
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. Now, you're working, what, 5-6 nights a week?
I'm working a lot because I'm involved,
You're doing some charity
I'm
stuff.
involved, I do charity stuff. A friend of mine been out of work for 3 months. We did a benefit show for him last Sunday. I do a lot of that kind of stuff. I put together fundraisers for good causes. I help out new comics. Every Monday night at the Pub on Park in Cranston, we have an open mic. We get like 15 to 20 comics come in and do like 5-6 minute spots.
Now, the Pub on Park,
that's in Cranston.
That's not the...
The Legion Bowl.
All right, that's what it is. Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
It was a laundromat. They had a fire. He decided to make it a club.
Near the Bennies.
And the marshal is the owner. Marshal, he's a great guy, and he lets us do our thing. And it's been 7 years this April. It's been very successful. And then and we do shows. If it's a holiday on a Monday, he gives us the Sunday night, and we do a show. You know, we bring in a headliner. So we've had very good luck at the Pub on Park.
Right.
And then I booked the Comedy Connection.
Is it still a bowling alley or not?
Yeah, there's a bowling alley, games, and I do the Comedy Connection. Like I said, once, twice a month, I'll book the Comedy Connection and get some new guys in there. So I really focus on helping new comics, a lot of what I do, because I started in '83. I got up once, I told you, and I did well, then I bombed. And no one said, hey, John, why don't you go do this mic, or why don't you do this show? So when I came back and I got going and I started running open mics, I said, you know what, I'm going to help comedians.
Other comedians, right.
Yeah, so I dedicate a big part of my career, which may have held me back, I don't know, but a lot of what I've dedicated to helping new comics get stage time. And I like it, and I get along with I treat the new comics like I do the big headliners. I treat everybody the same. I got a good rep in the business, and I really enjoy what I'm doing.
So you went from '84 to '91 without doing comedy?
Yeah, there was about 8-year period, yeah. Yeah, it was funny. What do you think my first time on stage was, Bob? First time ever on stage. You know,
in '84,
yeah,
the first time?
I'm in a recovery programs. The first time I ever got on stage was at an alcohol rehab, Edge Hill. I had to get on stage.
No way.
Yeah, I got on stage at Edge Hill. They had a talent show. So I get up on stage. I had the whole place dying laughing, right? I'm in an alcohol rehab. I can't leave, so I said, I might as well make them laugh.
Yeah.
And I had a good set. I might have had the best set ever at Edge Hill.
There you go. There you go.
Which is pretty crazy. They're closed now, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't even understand why they closed, because they were doing great things.
they were doing great. And it was an insurance thing, I think. People, they don't want to pay that insurance anymore, you know what I mean?
Really?
It was expensive to go there. It was like $8,000 or $10,000. But it helped a lot of people.
Sure.
I know people to this day. I know many friends that it's helped tremendous. It helped me. It helped me. You know, my life is doing. I'm doing very well, and I feel like $1 million, and I owe part of it to that program way back when. You know.
Now,
what I
we
mean?
talked about off camera. Do you want to talk about your situation with your wife, how you got back together with your wife?
Oh yeah, my wife, my second ex-wife. I got divorced twice, and I have a lot of ex-wife material. and I got divorced the second time. It was a rough divorce. A number of years went by. I had 2 children with her. We didn't really talk too much, and then she called me.
How long?
We were divorced 2002. It was quite a few years, and then in 2012 or so,
So it's 10 years.
She had 2 rare lung diseases. She asked me if I would move back to help her. So reluctantly, a lot of my friends said, "You're crazy. You're going to move back with your ex-wife."
Right.
And I said, "Well, they're only giving her a year to live." You know what I mean?
God.
So I moved back in.
Well, for your kids, too.
Yeah, I moved back in for my kids, and she needed a double lung transplant. She was on the list at Brigham and Women's in Boston. I took her out to Cleveland. We drove out there with the oxygen tanks. They got her on the list at Cleveland Clinic. In January of 2013, she took a turn for the worse. She went on total ECMO life support. They gave her 7 to 10 days to live.
Wow.
So basically,
how old was she?
She was in her early 50s. And so what happened, the doctor told me, I can give you no hope where there's no hope. She has a 2% chance of survival.
2%?
She needs a double lung transplant. She's really not going to make it. And she's the sickest person on the unit. So a week went by, and the social worker, the doctor sat down with me. My daughter was out there. My son couldn't take it anymore. And my daughter was out there, and they told us, we have to take her off life support tomorrow. And you could be in the room or not in the room, but she's not going to make it. And 2:30 in the morning, I'll never forget it. The phone rang. My daughter and I were sleeping in the hotel, and they got on the phone and they told us, unfortunately, someone passed away, but miraculously, it's a perfect match to your ex-wife.
Wow.
We're going to operate in the morning. And I talked to the surgeon before the surgery. We're going to operate. She may come out of it. She may not. They did the operation, and 6.5 years later, she's still alive.
Wow.
She works, she cooks, she cleans. We've become best friends again after all these years.
Yep.
So before I retired from my job at the prison in 2018, before I retired, we decided to get remarried. We got remarried. I've been through a lot of ex-girlfriends that drove me nuts. My ex-wife was the only one that really stood by me through the trials and tribulations of life. So it seemed like the right thing to do, and we've had some good times. We get along well. She comes to the shows now and then, and we got a great thing, and I'm really happy that I stuck with her.
And she stuck with you.
She stuck with me. I got kidney cancer 4 years ago. Luckily, they caught it early. They did what's called an ablation. They put a needle into the cancer, turns it to scar tissue. I go for MRIs every so often. And as a matter of fact, the last MRI I went was last Tuesday, Bob. No cancer, but they found 60 Twinkies merged together.
I knew there had to be a joke coming out of it.
The Twinkies are still in there, Bob.
The Twinkies. Yeah, they don't die anyway. You can eat them. There's no expiration date on a Twinkie, you know
But that was a miraculous story. She survived. I survived. We wound up getting remarried, and we're like best friends now. And it's an amazing story, the whole thing. And I put it in my act. It's in my comedy act.
Yeah.
I mentioned because I called her. I said when she got the surgery, she got up off the metal table. And I said, I call her the ex-wife that wouldn't die. She was like Freddy Krueger, Jason, Mike Myers from Friday the 13th. The child support continued. I said, she's never going to go anywhere. So I said, we might as well get remarried. She's not going to go anywhere. What am I going to do?
You can't get rid of her.
Can't get rid of her. And I asked a social worker when she was dying in Cleveland, I said, how do I get a body back to Providence? And being Italian, I should have known how to get a body back to Providence.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I didn't know, Bob. So I'm,
No, you're only supposed to know how to get rid of them. You don't know how to get them back.
I'm trying to get a body back and that she survives. It's just a miracle story. It's a miracle story, you know. But, you know, I've had ex-girlfriends and
well, you had an ex-girlfriend on the show one time.
Yeah, I had an ex-girlfriend. I had a lot of ex-girlfriends. And I want to say right here tonight, all the ex-girlfriends that are watching, I liked you all. You're nice people. But nobody stuck by me like Terry, my present wife. She stuck by me through thick and thin, and she's right to the end, no matter what happened, no matter what personal problems I had. She was always there for me, and I want to give a shout-out to Terry. She's a beautiful person, and she loves me to death, and I would never find a woman like her anywhere in this planet, Bob, nowhere. She's really stuck by me, you know what I mean?
Well, you were lucky. You're lucky to have
Very
a person
lucky.
like that. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I've overcome a lot myself. I don't want to get into all that, but I had things I had to take care of, issues I had to take care of.
Sure.
And now I'm doing really well with past issues I had. I'm excited about. I'm doing November 10th. I'm doing the Rhode Island Council on Problem Gambling. They're having the first annual comedy and music benefit to raise money for the Rhode Island Council on Problem Gambling.
And where is that?
It's going to be at the Met Cafe.
Yeah, that's I live near there.
It's $25 at the door, and I'm going to do some comedy. And they got Steve Smith and the Nakeds, and I'm excited about doing that. Yeah. And it's just it's a cool thing, and I'm just really excited about it. And I hope people can, if you're around November 10th, you can go out to that show. It'll be a good time. Yeah. And my other shows, I run John Perrotta's Comedy Factory. I've been blessed. We've been at Lemongrass. We do every 2 months in Warwick, and we do all you can eat, all you can laugh dinner comedy shows that they all sell out. Yep. Every 2 months we're there. We do Asia Grill, Lincoln Mall. We've done for 10 years now. And Charlie Chin, the owner there, and the owner at the Lemongrass.
What a name, though, huh?
Charlie Chin.
Charlie Chin.
Yeah. And then we do Spiritos. We do all you can eat, all you can laugh Italian food.
Don't say the price. Don't say the price.
I won't say the price, but we did 3 shows there, all sold out, 200 people. And we're doing New Year's Eve there, and with myself, Larry Norton. It's going to be a great time, DJ. And I also have New Year's Eve at Dane's Carriage Inn with Stephanie Peters, who's a
you're doing 2 New Year's Eve parties?
2 New Year's Eve shows. I'm going to run to Dane's Carriage Inn. I'm going to go on first there, leave there, and I'm going to close New Year's Eve at Spiritos.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so we got 2 great New Year's Eve shows.
Oh, wait a minute. One's down in...
One is in North Kingstown.
North Kingstown.
Yeah, I'll go on at 8:30 there.
And then the other one's in what, Johnston?
Cranston.
Cranston.
It's the old Kelly Gazzaro post. So I'll go on at 8:30 at Dane's Carriage Inn, and I'll be out of there by 9:30, and I'm on like after 10:30.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's plenty of time, you know.
Yeah.
And we do, there's so many other places I do, to mention Club Platforms. We do shows there. We do shows, like I said, the Pub on Park.
Where's Club Platforms?
That's on Post Street in Providence. So we do that. And there's a lot of various clubs. I can't even think of them all. Right. We do Copperfields and Smithfield occasionally. Yeah. So, as a matter of fact, I'm always out looking for new clubs and restaurants that want to do comedy. Yeah. I went to the Venus de Milo today to talk to them. Tomorrow I'm going to the Holiday Inn in Norwich, Connecticut. I got Luigi's in Johnston in talks with them about doing the show. So I'm constantly looking.
Well, say hi to Ralph for me.
Yeah, I'm always looking for new venues to keep the comedians. I love keeping the comedians working. I do my best. I get comics from Boston, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and I help the new guys. I help the veteran guys. I book Frank Santarelli, who was on The Sopranos. Right. I book Stephanie Peters. I book Christine Hurley. I book a lot of the bigger names. I book the smaller guys. I try to help everybody out. And I give the business 150%. I love comedy, and I put everything into my family and into my comedy. I got 2 beautiful kids, and they've turned out great, and my life couldn't be better right now. I'll tell you, I feel like $1 million.
Yeah.
$1 million. I really do.
Well, I'm glad you could stop by and say
it's
hi.
always good. Always good to see you, Bob. I always love you. You're always good to me. Well, good to me.
Well, you're a great comedian and a great person, actually. You're a good guy. I've seen some of the stuff you've done.
I'd like to get you on stage. I mentioned that before the show. I think if we had a show with a special appearance by his first comedy appearance, Bob Venturini.
You mean me doing comedy?
Yes. We'll put together 5 or 6 minutes for you. We'll probably have a full house. Everybody will want to come and see you, Bob.
Yeah, see me bomb.
Bob, half the set, you laugh like you laugh. They're going to laugh. You got a great laugh, Bob. You just 2.5 minutes, the other 2.5 minutes laugh.
That's it?
That's it, for 5 minutes.
And I'll be
Telling
all
you,
right?
We'll have a big crowd.
I remember being on a cruise ship, and I stay away from the stage on a cruise. Comedian, you don't want to be near the stage, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I hear this guy's racking on this guy, Italian guy, and I look up and I notice, and the guy's from Rhode Island. I recognized the guy who was in a band in Rhode Island, a big band in Rhode Island, and this guy was nailing him big time about the gold chains around the neck. And at first of all, he thought he was from New Jersey, and then he realized, he asked, "Where are you from?" He goes, "I'm from Rhode Island." He goes, "Rhode Island?" That's what prompted me to look, and then I realized didn't know him personally, but I knew he was in this particular band that I had on the show.
Yeah.
But he wasn't smart enough to be quiet. He tried to deal with this.
If they try to come back at you, they're going to get in trouble.
Oh, yeah, the guy tore
If you
him
got
up.
the mic, the guy with the mic's in charge.
He owns it, yeah, he owns you.
One time they got me, Bob. I did a bachelor party. Somehow the guy got a cordless mic. He was hiding under the table. He was saying stuff, busting me up. All the guys at the bachelor party were laughing.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out who's got this cordless mic, where's it coming from? I finally found him, he was under the table. I got him back at another party. I saw him. I said, "I'm getting you tonight." I got him good. But that was one time because usually I get him. I fire into the crowd. I get him pretty good. But that one night, that guy hid the mic under the table, and he got me. It was at Lancelotti's in North Providence.
Oh, yeah.
I'll never forget it. He was a dry cleaner.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had one time, it's got to be 20 years ago anyway. I was with my cousin outside of Antioch, California, visiting him, and we went to a comedy show, and this guy was being such a jerk to people on stage. And I don't need a mic. I got a loud voice.
Yeah.
So I got up and I started with him. And I ended up tearing him up. I did him in real bad.
You could do it, Bob.
They were clapping for me and they were booing him. It was really something. I actually felt bad after. But he was such a jerk to people. He was really.
Yeah, it's no good to get like that. You want the audience. You want to win them over.
Yeah.
The first joke has got to get them laughing, and then from there you want to win them over. And I'm fast, so if I goof on one guy, I'll go to another guy, so I'm pretty quick. And if I see somebody that gets a little upset,
you stay away
I don't
from
go back to him.
Right.
But I'm so quick now with working the audience that people don't get mad because I'm off them fast.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean? I'm
yeah.
off them fast. I'm just.
No, I love watching you when you're at your best.
I'm happiest on stage.
Yeah.
I mean, I love my family, but when I'm on stage, I'm never happier. It's a thrill for me every time I get on stage to perform. I just love it so much.
All right, well, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. I really appreciate you having me on.
I'm going to see you at over there on Main Street, the Met.
Yeah, definitely. Come and see me. Yeah, definitely.
All right.
All right.
We'll be right back, folks. Oh, there you are. We'll be right back.